Good morning. Myself, Jayalakshmi, Assistant Professor of Economics, Dr. G. Shankar Government Women's First Grade College, Acharakadu, Udupi. Today, I am going to discuss about the concept of monopolistic competition, which is studied by the first BBA students of Mangalore University in second semester. Monopolistic competition is one of the important type of market structure. The theory of imperfect competition was developed by two economists independently but simultaneously in the year 1933. The founding father of the theory of monopolistic competition is Edward Hastings Chamberlain, who wrote a pioneering book on the subject, The Theory of Monopolistic Competition, in the year 1933. The another person who spoke about monopolistic competition is John Robinson, who published a book, The Economics of Imperfect Competition, with a comparable theme of distinguishing perfect from imperfect competition. The meaning of monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition refers to the market situation in which there is a keen competition but neither perfect nor pure among a group of a large number of small producers or suppliers having some degree of monopoly because of the differentiation of their products. Thus, we can say that monopolistic competition or imperfect competition is a mixture of competition and a certain degree of monopoly on the basis of a correct appraisal of the market situation. In simple words, we can say monopolistic competition is nothing but a market structure where we find large number of small firms producing very close substitutes or differentiated products. Definitions of monopolistic competition. According to Professor Lerner, the condition of imperfect competition arises when a seller has to face the falling demand curve. According to Professor J.K. Mehta, it has been more fully realized that every case of exchange is a case of what may be called partial monopoly, and partial monopoly is looked at from the other said case of imperfect competition. There is a blending of both competition element and monopoly element in each situation. One more definition given by Professor Leftwich: monopolistic competition or imperfect competition is that condition of industrial market in which a particular commodity of one seller creates an idea of difference from that of the other sellers in the minds of consumers. Characteristics of monopolistic competition. First feature is the large number of buyers and sellers. There are large number of firms but not as large as under perfect competition. That means each firm can control its price output policy to some extent. It is assumed that any price output policy of a firm will not get reaction from other firms. That means each firm follows the independent price policy. If a firm reduces its price, the gains in sales will be slightly spread over many of its rivals, so that the extent to which each of the rival firms suffers will be very small. Thus, these rival firms will have no reason to react. Second feature is freedom of entry of the new firms and exit of old firms. Like perfect competition, under monopolistic competition also, the firms can enter or exit freely. The firms will enter when the existing firms are making supernormal profits. With the entry of new firms, the supply would increase, which would reduce the price, and hence the existing firms will be left only with normal profits. Similarly, if the existing firms are sustaining losses, some of the marginal firms will exit. It will reduce the supply, due to which price would rise and the existing firms will be left only with normal profit. The next feature here is product differentiation. One of the main features of monopolistic competition is product differentiation. There are many firms producing a particular product, but each firm introduces its product as different from others. The basis for this differentiation may take the form of quality difference, advertisement, patent rights, trademarks, etc. The differentiation makes the products of each firms heterogeneous, but these products are inherently similar. These are close substitutes of one another, resulting in high cross-elasticity of demand. There are some instruments of product differentiation, such as advertisement, where firms try to impress upon the consumers. Similarly, there are patent rights and trademarks. There are certain brand names which command a goodwill in the market, such as Samsung, Redmi, Godrej, Tata, etc. The goodwill creates preference of the consumers in favor of the popular brands, and it is thus an instrument of product differentiation. There may be quality differentiation also. Monopolistic competitor tries to distinguish his product on the side of production by introducing changes in its quality. This is done with the help of craftsmanship and changes in shape, design, size, color, etc. of the product. You might have observed the products like soaps. Their shape is different, their fragrance is different, their color is different, packing is different. Likewise, these changes in quality are undertaken in accordance with the taste and preferences of the consumers. The next feature here is selling cost. Another feature of monopolistic competition is that every firm tries to promote its product by different types of expenditures. Advertisement is the most important constituent of the selling cost, which affects demand as well as cost of the product. The main purpose of the monopolist is to earn maximum profits. Therefore, he adjusts this type of expenditure accordingly. The next feature here is lack of perfect knowledge. The buyers and sellers do not have perfect knowledge of the market. There are innumerable products, in the sense various products, each being a close substitute of the other. The buyers do not know about all these products, their qualities and prices. Therefore, so many buyers purchase a product out of a few varieties which are offered for sale near the home. Sometimes a buyer knows about a particular commodity where it is available at low price, but he is unable to go there due to lack of time, or he is too lethargic to go, or he is unable to find proper conveyance. So the seller does not know the exact preference of buyers and is therefore unable to get advantages out of the situation. Next feature here is less mobility. Under monopolistic competition, both the factors of production as well as goods and services are not perfectly mobile. Next feature here is higher elasticity of demand. That means more elasticity or relatively elastic demand. Under monopolistic competition, demand curve is more elastic. In order to sell more, the firms reduce its price. They should reduce its price. Demand and marginal revenue curves under monopolistic competition. Under monopolistic competition, both marginal revenue and average revenue curves are downward sloping. And the demand curve, or that is also known as average revenue curve, is relatively elastic, and always MR curve, marginal revenue curve, lies below the average revenue curve. That means average revenue is greater than marginal revenue. Pricing under monopolistic competition. As a result of product differentiation, customers tend to build brand loyalty so that competing firms have some control over the price. Because competing products are close substitutes, demand is relatively elastic. The firm has some discretion in raising price without losing its entire market to competitors. Conversely, lowering price will induce additional sales. In the short run, the seller can increase the price slightly if there are a comparatively small number of producers with close substitutes. Similarly, a small decrease in price can attract more customers. Sales can also be increased through advertisement and by undertaking sales promotion techniques. Price and output determination. Given the general conditions of monopolistic competition, we may find the equilibrium of a firm in the short run and long run. There are two conditions for equilibrium under monopolistic competition. Firm attains equilibrium at the point where marginal revenue is equivalent to marginal cost, and second one is marginal cost curve cuts marginal revenue curve from below. Monopolistically competitive firm may face three situations such as supernormal profit, normal profit and losses in the short run. In the case of supernormal profit, average revenue is greater than average cost. In the case of normal profit, average revenue is equivalent to average cost, and in the case of losses, average revenue is less than average cost. Now, price output determination in short run. The first case, supernormal profits. Same thing is shown with the help of diagram. Here, OX axis measures output, OY axis measures revenue and cost, MR is marginal revenue curve, AR is nothing but the demand curve or average revenue curve, MC is marginal cost curve, AC is average cost curve. Firm is in equilibrium at point E where MC cuts MR, and at this point MC is equivalent to MR. In this point, we need to draw a perpendicular line which helps us to determine equilibrium output, that is OQ. And the perpendicular line cuts average cost curve at point B, that is nothing but average cost, which is equivalent to BQ or OC. Equilibrium price is determined at point A, that means equilibrium price is OP or AQ. Profit is nothing but price minus cost, which is equivalent to OP minus OC or AQ minus BQ. That means per unit profit is equivalent to AB. Now, total profits are calculated by multiplying per unit profit with output. That is AB into CB or OQ. Then we will get the shaded area ABCP, which is firm's supernormal profits. Now, the second case is normal profits. That is also shown with the help of diagram. OX axis measures output, OY axis measures revenue and cost. MR is marginal revenue curve, AR is the average revenue or demand curve, MC is the marginal cost curve, and AC is the average cost curve. At point E, firm is in equilibrium where MR is equivalent to MC, which determines the equilibrium output, that is OQ, equilibrium price, that is OP, because at point C, average cost curve is tangent to average revenue curve. In this case, cost is CQ, price is also equivalent to that is OP. So, firms are getting only normal profits, in the sense there is no gain, no loss. The third condition is losses. Here in the diagram, again, OX axis measures quantity, OY axis measures price and cost. MR is marginal revenue curve, D is demand curve or average revenue curve, MC is marginal cost curve, ATC is average cost curve. Now, firm is in equilibrium at point E, which determines the equilibrium output OQ and equilibrium price OP. In this case, the perpendicular line touches average cost curve at point A. That means the cost per unit of production is AQ or OC, which is greater than the price, that is OP. The difference here is, difference between price and cost is AQ minus BQ, that is AB. That means firm is getting AB amount of loss per unit. The total loss is equivalent to per unit loss, that is AB, into output OQ. So now the total loss incurred by the firm is equivalent to the shaded area ABPC. So these are the three conditions applicable in short run. Only thing is, diagram remains same. Only thing is, average cost curve lies below average revenue curve in the first case. Second case, it is tangent to average revenue curve. Third case, it lies above the average revenue curve. Now, price output determination in long run. In the long run, firms are in a position to derive only the normal profits. In the diagram, OX axis measures output, OY axis measures cost. Long run marginal cost curve cuts long run marginal revenue curve at point E, that is the equilibrium point. Here, equilibrium output is OQ, cost is OC, and price is equivalent to OP. So, that means price is equivalent to cost. Supernormal profits attract in new entrants, which shifts the demand curve for existing firm to the left. New entrants continue until only normal profit is available. At this point, firms have reached their long-run equilibrium. Clearly, the firm benefits most when it is in its short run and will try to stay in the short run by innovating and further product differentiation. Limitations of monopolistic competition. Some firms will be better at brand differentiation and therefore in the real world they will be able to make supernormal profits. New firms will not be seen as a close substitute. There is considerable overlap with oligopoly, except the model of monopolistic competition assumes no barriers to entry. In the real world, there are likely to be at least some barriers to entry. If a firm has strong brand loyalty, the product differentiation, this itself becomes a barrier to entry. A new firm cannot easily capture the brand loyalty. Many industries we may describe as monopolistically competitive are very profitable, so the assumption of normal profits is too simplistic. Thank you, one and all.